So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk to you about the real truth behind eyelash extensions and whether they are safe to wear or not. And the reason why I like to do videos or tutorials like this is because there really is still a lot of bad press relating to the eyelash extension industry, and the reason being is because bad news always travels fast, and this happens within any industry. The whole beauty industry, you always hear about the negatives and you very, very rarely hear about the positives because bad news makes good news. So actually I'm going to talk to you about the real truth behind eyelash extensions and give you a really good understanding, not only for yourself, whether you're a new therapist, whether you are a client that wants eyelash extensions, or whether you think that this is possibly something that you want to train in. So first of all, let me talk about who I am. My name is Frankie Widows and I am an accredited trainer to the lash industry as well as an accredited full-time working lash technician. And my job is eyelash extensions. So the first thing that I want to say is that this is not only my passion, but it is my job. And this job is what pays my bills. And the first thing I want you to realise is that if I did not have happy clients with healthy lashes coming in and out of my salon day in, day out, I wouldn't be able to pay my bills. And this job does pay my bills. So that's the first thing you need to think about, that if my clients were unhappy, they wouldn't come to me and I would be a very, very poor woman. So that's going to lead me on to talk about actually why lashes are very, very good for you. But first of all, you must understand, like anything, you must thoroughly research your lash technician and make sure that you are going to somebody who is a reputable lash technician, who you can see photographs and quality of their work, and who knows what they're talking about. Whenever you're going to get any treatment, whether it is anything, whether it would be surgical or something like eyelash extensions, where you are working on the eye area, which is such a delicate area, and we only have 2 of them and we have them for life. So you want to be making sure that you are thoroughly researching the technician that is going to be working on your eyes, because if they mess up, there could be serious consequences to this. And I'm not saying this to put you off, but if you do your research thoroughly, then you can be rest assured that you're going to be in good hands. But if you just walk into any salon without doing any research whatsoever on the technician that is about to work on you, then it's almost more for you. Just because somebody has a certificate, it doesn't mean that they're actually going to be any good. So the problem that we actually have, both in the UK and I think across the globe, is that a lot of the training providers are not lash specialists. They are just people that train lashes, and as such they train very old school techniques, and they themselves don't keep up to date with the latest developments within the lash industry, which it moves on so very quickly. So you find that a lot of technicians really haven't progressed and probably using lashes or techniques that are not suitable these days for clients, and this is where a lot of the bad press comes from within the lash industry. Also, good training is usually quite expensive, because any good lash specialist, she cannot afford, or he cannot afford, to try and compete with these extremely cheap courses. So for example, in the UK, for sort of £99 you can go on a one-day eyelash extension course where there's 10 of you on a course with one trainer, and you get a kit with that. You know, how can somebody like myself that is a lash specialist and has invested thousands of pounds of my own money, hours and hours of, developing my own skills, thousands of pounds into bringing my students the best manuals, offering one-to-one training, I cannot compete with training academies like that. And as such, what you're getting is a lot of people coming through the training establishments that have been trained badly. If they are going to be a good technician, then they'll go out and seek other training. But a lot of students on these courses don't understand that their training is poor, they don't understand the techniques that they've been taught and are outdated, and as such they are going out and actually trashing clients' lashes and continuing to ruin the lash extension business or industry for all of us. So for people like me, it's really, really difficult to compete with that type of thing. And even though, like especially in the UK, a lot of our courses have to be accredited, and that means that they are recognised by companies that will allow you to go and get insurance. Accreditation actually doesn't really mean a lot, and I've been on lots of courses, not just lash extension courses, that are accredited, and they are shockingly bad. Even my own original training was horrendous. I think I stuck 6 lashes on a client. The trainer sat in the corner of the room playing on her phone or eating her sandwiches, and us 10 students on the course that knew nothing about lash extension were just left on our own to go and get on with it, and then were given a certificate at the end of the day and told that we were qualified lash technicians and able to go out and work on the public. And this is what is going on. So, we are really struggling to up the standards of the lash industry. Also, over the years, we've started to realise that these big thick lashes that are being used, and yes, they give a nice big thick full look, but they're not actually safe to wear week after week for clients. So now, if you are a good therapist and you keep up to date with the advancements in the lash industry, you're now starting to favour the thinner types of lashes because clients can safely wear them week after week. So what this is going to do is take me on to actually client expectations, because everybody that comes and wants lash extensions does so because they probably haven't got great lashes themselves, or they want a really big thick full look. And we were able to give people that years ago because we were using such big thick heavy lashes. But as a result, it damages your own natural lashes. And as such, the realistic expectations these days of eyelash extensions is that you can't achieve what actually doesn't exist. So because you have to work off a platform of natural lashes. So if you have somebody that has an abundance of natural lashes, they're actually going to get a pretty good full set. Whereas if you have somebody come in who actually has poor natural lashes, well, they're so fine anyway that you can't overload them with too much weight. So they'll never probably get the look they desire if they want a super full look. And that's when you have to send them off to get strip lashes. So we can't create what isn't there. We just enhance what is. It's a bit like a bald person going into a hairdresser's and going, oh, can you make me look like I've got lovely long hair? Well, without putting a wig on, no, you can't, because you've got nothing there to work with. And it's the same with lashes. If you want that big, thick, full strip look, go and get a set of strip lashes. Because once we've put an extension onto your natural lash, well, what do we then stick it to? We can't stick it to your skin. We're actually sticking it to your existing lashes. So this is where a lot of people, firstly, they're uneducated in their training. So a lot of students are never taught the realistic expectations that you can achieve as a therapist. But a lot of people fail to do their research if they want eyelash extensions and think that we can actually create what doesn't exist. And then sometimes come out with, being unhappy. And what it then leads to is that they will actually, they'll come to somebody like me that will try and explain this, and we'll give them a very lightweight set that is custom suited to their own natural lashes. But then when they're not happy with that, they'll go somewhere that is, let's say somebody who's not trained overly well, is trained to use really thick, heavy lashes because it's a very old school technique, and then they will just load up this client because she or he wants a really big, thick, full look, and they will load them up, give them what they want, but then their natural lashes are trashed. And then, again, it ruins the standard of the lash industry. So, if you are a new therapist and you've got clients like this, it's your responsibility to educate them as to their realistic expectations that, we can't create what's not there. And if you are a potential client wanting lash extensions, if you haven't got the best natural lashes yourself, you're not going to get the best set. However, saying that, with the developments within the lash industry and a technique that's called Russian volume, which is the use of ultra fine extensions, and you can use up to 6 onto one natural lash. It's a very advanced technique that is only done by a handful of technicians because it is so super skilled. You can have that done and create a thicker, fuller look. But what you also have to realise is that if you want these advanced techniques and you want a good set done, you have to pay the money. And this is another thing, is people don't want to part with their money. They think that if they see, let's say, £100 set of lashes and a £20 set of lashes, well, they're going to go for the £20 and expect to get a good set. It doesn't work like that. If you want a good car, you're going to go and buy the Ferrari. It's going to cost you thousands of pounds more, but you get what you pay for. Within the lash industry, not always. I've seen very expensive work that's been awful. But on the whole, if you want a good set of lashes, you've got to pay more, because no good therapist can afford to charge peanuts for her lashes. So, for example, a good set of lashes is probably going to take about 2 hours minimum. And we have to have about half an hour between each client in order for us to sterilise or sanitise all of our products before we use them on the next client. So if you actually do the maths on that and think, okay, let's say maybe 2.5 hours between each client. Well, 2 clients is 5 hours, 4 clients is 10 hours, and that's if a therapist is working a 10-hour day. So if she's only charging, and this is British pounds, 20 British pounds, she's only going to earn £80 a day for 10 hours work. Take out the cost of her products, which are probably £20, she's now earned £60 for a 10-hour day. That's £6 per hour, that's less than minimum wage. No therapist can afford to work for that. So you can see why therapists have to charge what they do, because firstly, what you're getting is a super skilled treatment that they've spent years perfecting and thousands of pounds training, good training classes to do this. And also she's got to earn, or he's got to earn the money to pay their bills. So if you actually start seeing cheap lashes, they're either going to be a new therapist, and there's nothing wrong with that, but with a new therapist you're going to have to expect that you're probably not going to get the best set. Or they're going to be somebody that isn't very good, because like I said, no experienced therapist, somebody like myself, can afford to charge that for something that I have spent years perfecting and that I am seriously good at, because I have spent thousands of pounds on learning everything there is to learn about this and perfecting my craft. So these are all the things that you need to think about if you have a set of eyelash extensions. This is not just something that we're just plonking on your lashes. It is a super skill, and as such you're going to have to pay for it. So what I'd now like to do is actually show you what it is that we use on you and how we go about applying them, and why these extensions are perfectly safe to be worn week after week, month after month, and year after year. So let's talk about eyelash extensions and what they are and what they're made out of. Now, I choose to use synthetic eyelash extensions, but a lot of you will probably have heard the terms such as mink. And a lot of you actually really don't know what you're talking about, and I get a lot of clients phoning me up going, do you do mink eyelashes? And they have no idea. It's probably just because their friend has spoken about it. Now, you can buy real human hair and real animal hair, such as fox mink. I choose not to use any of these because I do not endorse the fur trade, and although suppliers or manufacturers of these real lashes will say, oh, our animals are looked after really well and we brush them, these poor animals are actually kept in tight little cages so that we can use them to make ourselves look beautiful, and that goes against everything that I like as an animal lover. So I do not endorse the fur trade, and as such I would never use lashes. The other problem when you start using real animal hair or real human hair is it doesn't keep its curl. So you will find that if you put extensions on, they will start to drop, lose their curl. They don't look particularly nice because they're not man-made, they're natural. They're actually quite sort of frizzy looking. So if you're looking for a nice uniform set of eyelash extensions, you're not going to get it from real hair. Also, a lot of people can start developing allergies when you start putting real hair or human hair on their eyes. So it's something that I recommend you staying away for. Now, the developments within the lash industry has also meant that we have some fantastic manufacturers out there of synthetic lashes. They are absolutely beautiful. They are soft and supple and lightweight. And if you want a nice looking set of eyelash extensions, it's these synthetic products that you want, because they are absolutely superb. But again, as a therapist, you've got to invest your money and you've got to buy into good brands, and you've got to pay a little bit more. These cost us quite a lot of money to buy. So if you're a client, you're thinking, well, she's earning or he's earning a lot of money out of that. You know what? Our products are so expensive that really we don't earn as much as you think we do. One of these trays is just one length, okay? This is one length of lashes, and I use up to 7 lengths per client. And these trays cost me about 15 UK pounds. So if you do the conversion within your own currency, you'll realise actually we have to spend a lot of money out on these, and they don't particularly last that long when you're working on clients all day long. Now, when it comes to synthetic lashes, you can actually get synthetic silk and synthetic mink. Both are actually the same, and I didn't realise this. They're both made out of a product which is called PBT, which I won't go into details, but it's pretty much a plastic. But it's also used for toothbrushes, makeup brushes. It's just a very soft product that can be made into sort of synthetic hair. It doesn't really matter whether you buy silk or mink. I actually thought there was a difference, but there wasn't I didn't realise until I watched a webinar. It's just what the manufacturer decides to call their lashes. Some say that silk are slightly more tapered than mink. Some say that mink have more of a matte appearance, whereas silk are more dark and shiny. But what I've learned is it all depends on the supplier. So what looks like silk in one will look like mink in another. So you just have to buy what you like and use it. And you can mix the two. Every single brand is different. Now lashes come in lots of different lengths, thicknesses, curls and colours, which means that you can custom create a set to suit every client that comes in. So in here, this is a thickness of 0.15 and the length is 10mm. So when it comes to thicknesses, we work in 0.0 of millimetre. So for example, your thickness will normally be a 0.25, which is seriously thick and too thick for most people's lashes, and it will go down 0.25, 0.2, 0.18, 0.15, 0.12, 0.1 and 0.07. And there are a few other thicknesses thrown in the middle of there, but that will just get too complicated. So a 0.15 that I've got here is a great lash to use on most clients that come in that can support it, unless they're an older client and they've got thinning lashes, and for that we'd have to take our thickness down even more. And this is how they all come with sticky strips, and I take them off and I put them on a lash palette that I use that works on the back of my hand. And this is just a length that's a 10mm, and usually on most people we will use a length from 7 or 8mm in the inner corner of the eye, and you will extend out, if you want a glamorous looking set, to about 12mm. So you can see that within most sets you're going to be using 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You're probably going to be using 6 different lash lengths. So you can see why, you know, this can be quite expensive for us as therapists, because we have to stock every single curl, colour, length, thickness, and at £15 a tray is quite expensive. You know, I'm looking at up the top here and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. I've probably got nearly 150 trays of lashes at £15 each. Now I can't even do the maths on that, but that's a lot of money worth of lashes here, and I am ordering lashes probably every couple of weeks or so. So this is what they're made out of, and they actually mimic the natural lash. I'm going to actually pick one off here and I'm going to hold it down here so you can probably see it. They're actually really fine, and the reason why we're so skilled at what we do is because one of these is placed onto every single one of the client's natural lashes. Well, you can imagine how long that takes. Most clients have about 100 natural lashes per eye, and we're having to place one of those on the natural lash, and we isolate each individual lash so that it sits out on its own. So you can now see how skilled we are at what we do, for the fact that we have to isolate every individual lash to put a set on you. And this is why this can take up to 2 hours, if not 3 hours, and why we have to charge what we do, because for anybody to concentrate for that long and be able to safely put one of those onto your natural lashes and make them all look uniform and have a perfect graduation of length, well, that is a serious skill. And unfortunately, unless you're a therapist yourself, a lot of people really don't appreciate the actual amount of skill that goes into what it is that we do, and how it can actually be quite demoralising as a therapist when you've spent so much money and you know how good you are at what you do, and people just want to come in and just have a set of lashes for so cheap, and just don't appreciate what it is that you do as a therapist. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to get my mannequin head and I'm going to actually show you the technique of the isolation and placing an eyelash extensions onto that. Now, mannequin heads can be quite easy to work on because the lashes all sit straight, and also the client doesn't move because she's not real. When you start working on a real client, they move, their natural lashes do not point in normal directions, they go all over the place, and you are expected to correct the direction of their natural lash. This is when it gets tricky, but I will show you the basic principle of what we do and how we create such beautiful looking sets. So now what I'm going to show you with the use of my mannequin head is how we go about applying eyelash extensions to a client or a real person. So a lot of people actually assume as beauty therapists that we're really actually not very intelligent, and the reason we decided to go and do beauty is because we didn't have any qualification and there was nothing else that we could do. But actually it's quite insulting, and it's quite the opposite, because to be a very good beauty therapist you have to firstly be a very, very good businesswoman to run your business, and secondly, to be a good therapist you have to be extremely skilled at what you do. Now, people think that the eyelash extension is going to be easy, because it's like every other beauty treatment. And let's say take nails for example. Now most people can paint a basic nail because as a little girl, and most beauty therapists are women, every little girl grew up painting nails. And that's not to say that nails is easy, because I was a nail technician as well, and it's far from that. But a lot of people assume that, and you normally find it's something that a lot of people decide to do as an extra income in the evening sometimes, and are probably not very good at it, and that's why sort of the beauty industry sometimes gets a bad reputation. So when it comes to eyelash extensions, not every girl picked up a sharp pair of tweezers in both hands and played with them on a real person. Actually, not any little girl did that at all. So when you start learning the craft of eyelash extensions and you're given 2 sharp tweezers and told that you're now going to be working on someone's head, namely their eye, it's quite daunting, and you can see why you have to be super skilled at this. Then let's also give them some seriously strong glue that could actually stick people's eyes together, and now you're starting to see why this is a seriously skilled occupation, and why you need to be researching your technician before you get lash extensions done. So before I keep waffling on, and bear with me on this one, how we put these onto the natural lash, I'm actually going to show you now. So I'm just grabbing my tweezers, and I've grabbed my extension, and I've gone into my glue, and several technicians here do this different ways. This is just the way that I choose to do it. And I now go in using tweezers in my left hand, and I'm right-handed, so I now go in and I perform isolation onto one natural lash. And I then come in and I place my extension onto that natural lash so that I have a bond at the base. I release, and I am responsible for controlling, as you can see, the direction that that natural lash needs to go in to create the direction that I want. So for here, because I want a sweep towards the outer corner, I've pushed it slightly over towards the left, and you probably can't see that from your camera angle, but trust me on that one. And I have to hold the isolation long enough for that glue to perfectly dry, so that when I release, the lashes either side do not stick together. And that's why it takes so long. So now, and I'm a quick lasher, I've only got another 199 of those to do. Well, that's a lot of concentration for me, and that's going to take a while, so you can see why I charge what I do. So let's go again. And at the moment I've got no map drawn out, so I'm just placing these on, but normally I would have also assessed the client's eye shape, her face shape, her natural lash style, for the suitability of extensions, on what set is going to actually suit her the best. So just like a hairdresser, you know, they assess the client for what hairstyle is going to suit them. It's no different to lashes. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just literally placing whatever length I want on in whatever part of the eye. But if I was doing a full set, I would need to know exactly what lengths are going through my set to create the perfect style. So here I'm coming back in, grabbing my isolation, and this is really easy on a mannequin head because she's got no little baby lashes that come out of the head. Actually, this is really simple, but when you start working on a real client, again I've placed it on, holding, moving if I need be, making sure that's dry, and releasing. And I also have to use the correct amount of glue, enough so that I get a good bond, but not too much that it's thick, heavy and gloopy. And in addition to that, I also need to be controlling my humidity and my temperature in my room, because these all affect how our glues work. If you don't have the right humidity and temperature, your glue will never dry, or it will dry too quickly, and all of your client's lashes will fall off the next day. So here we go again. So I've actually put 2 lashes on in that time, and I think I've now been talking for about 3 or 4 minutes. So you can see why it takes so long. Let's go back in. Grab my isolation, and look how steady my hand has to be in order that I make contact with that natural lash, that I'm not sticking it onto any other one, that I'm not sticking it to the head, and that I'm placing it on and holding. Now, if you want somebody coming near your eyes with a set of these sharp tweezers, look at these. I could do a serious amount of damage to you if I wanted to. You need to know that your therapist knows what she's doing. And also this glue I've got is technically super glue. So again, you don't want anybody that you don't know and you don't know what their work is like coming near you who hasn't been trained and who isn't good at their job, because you are going to get hurt. And I've been there myself. I've had my eyes stuck together. I've had therapists taking scissors to my eyes and cut my lashes apart. I've had the most horrific experiences before I was in this industry, and I can see why this industry has got such a bad name, and actually how some therapists have no concern for their clients whatsoever. They will just happily, without any education whatsoever, just go and work on clients with these techniques and really don't care what they do to their clients. Again, I've got a blob there. I have to know how to make contact with that natural lash and do a shimmy to disperse that glue nicely so that I can place it on and I've got a seamless bond. I also need to know how to take this lash off correctly if it's in the wrong position, like so, without causing any damage to the natural lash and without hurting the client. So you can see now why this is such a specialist skill and why we are so good at what we do and why it takes so very, very long. I've got a little bit too much glue there, so I'm going to have to take this off, dab a bit off, make my contact, and there you go. And that so far is how we go about applying eyelash extensions. So let's talk about how your lash extensions should feel as a client when you've got them on. So they shouldn't feel heavy, they shouldn't feel uncomfortable, they should feel extremely lightweight, they should feel just like your own. If for any reason they're hurting you, they're drooping, or your eyes feel sensitive, that is not a good set of eyelash extensions. And also, the procedure shouldn't be uncomfortable. It should be relaxing, and actually a lot of my clients fall asleep and really, really enjoy coming. If you're going to an appointment and you're finding the therapist is rough and you're finding that the glue is stinging, that's not right, okay? So just bear that in mind. So when you've got your extensions on, they don't last forever like people make out. People say, oh, they last for like 3 months. No, they don't. They last for what an average nail takes to grow out. So most people that have lash extensions are women. So most women have had their nails painted and know that polish chips, and within 2 to 3 weeks you'll have a growth line where your nail will be growing. Lashes are no different. If you want to keep your lashes looking full, you're going to need to come back every 2 to 3 weeks. And a lot of clients, get quite angry when their lashes start to shed and like to blame the lash technician. Well, I'm afraid that's just life. Hair grows. When you have your hair dyed, you get that growth line. When you paint your nails, you get that growth line. Lash extensions are pretty much the same. And most people lose between 2 to 3 eyelashes every single day. And what happens is the way in which these are bonded onto the natural lash, when the natural lash decides to shed, that extension comes out. And because perfect isolation is performed onto the natural lash, like you just saw when I was working on the man-naked head, there's no damage. There can't be any damage because we haven't got lashes that are stuck together. The problem that you get is when lashes have been clumped together, lashes have been dumped on, or people have used cluster lashes with semi-permanent glue, which you need to stay away for. Cluster lashes are only designed to be worn for a couple of days for a small event, and then they must come off. The damage is caused when multiple lashes are stuck together with glue and they can't grow and shed on their own. It's a bit like having dreadlocks in your hair. Eventually you're probably going to have to cut it all off because it will just start pulling all your hair out and not looking nice. So there must be an individual isolation, so that when your natural lash decides to shed, that natural lash will shed taking the eyelash extension with it. And that's why there's no damage. If lashes are too heavy, then it will cause your lashes to fall out prematurely because, again, they're being sort of weighted down and stripped out. But that's why lash extensions are so healthy. So When you get your first full set, you're going to need to pay out your full set price. And if you decide to keep wearing your eyelash extensions, which if you have a good therapist and you have a good set on, you can wear for the rest of your life with no damage whatsoever. But you must return probably 2 to 3 weeks maximum. Some people get 4 weeks out of them, but it all depends on your growth cycle. But after about 3 weeks, you will have lost about 50% of your lashes, and normally you'll find that most technicians require you to have 50% of your set left to be classed as an infill, because otherwise it then takes a lot of work for the therapist to do all the prep work, to strip off lashes that have grown out and replace them, and otherwise she might as well do a full set, because infills are quite hard and she really doesn't earn as much money out of them as you think she does. It's very, very hard work. So you need to be coming back every 2 to 3 weeks to get your lashes topped up, and you'll normally pay 50% of what you paid for your full set price. You know, different therapists work differently, but on the whole that's what you're going to be paying. You don't ever need full sets again. It is a myth when people say, oh no, you're going to need a full set, you know, every 4 months or something. It's not. Because what happens is that every infill, your lashes are being replenished. So lashes that are still good are left on, and lashes that, let's say, have grown out or twisted will come off and new ones will be applied, and you'll have new ones applied onto where lashes have shed. So you don't ever need a full set again. You can just continue to wear them week after week. If you do decide to go away for a break and come back, you're going to have to pay a full set price again. You need to be keeping your lashes clean. A lot of the old techniques told you to never get your lashes wet or anything. Actually, quite the opposite. You do need to clean them to keep the oils out of them. Imagine if you never washed your hair and never washed your face. It would be pretty disgusting. So you do need to be cleaning your lashes. Do not put any mascara on them. This is our real bugbear as therapists, is that we do a beautiful set of extensions on somebody, they go away and slather them in mascara thinking that we won't notice when they come back, and we do. If you want extensions, then don't wear mascara. If you want to wear mascara, don't have extensions. As simple as that. When you put mascara on your extensions, not only do most mascaras contain oil, and oil breaks down glue, so your lashes won't last long, you also then can't clean your extensions without damaging them and your natural lashes in order to get the mascara off. So if you try and get mascara off, how rough you have to be with those extensions to get mascara off them is going to pull them out, and that's not going to be good. Also, if there are traces of mascara on there, then it's a harbouring ground for bacteria. So you're going to get a build-up of bacteria, and you're going to get an eye infection, which is called blepharitis, okay, which is associated with eyelash extensions because a lot of people don't clean them properly. So it's not actually eyelash extensions that cause eye infections, it's the lack of cleaning of them. It's like you never cleaning your eyes, whether you had lash extensions on or not, you're going to get an eye infection after a while, like any other part of your body. So do not put mascara on your extensions, and there's nothing worse as a therapist when a client comes back and tries to lie and say she hasn't put anything on and they're caked in mascara. Because a lot of us will actually put ourselves out and try and get that mascara off so that we can save you money, whereas technically we need to be strict and say, no, we told you not to put any mascara on there. That's going to be charge you a full set, you know, a removal price and a full set. So do not put mascara on your extensions, and do keep them clean. But if you maintain your extensions, you can have beautiful lashes for the rest of your life. You never have to put mascara on ever again. It saves you so much time in the morning, and they look beautiful. And there is nothing more beautiful than a fantastic set of lash extensions. But like anything, this is a really, really serious skill. And there are not that many good therapists out there, because the hours that take to become a specialist, not many people want to persevere at it. So therefore you don't get an overly good choice of artists. You know, there are some super ones out there, and if you do look hard, you will find one local to you. But don't just pop into any salon that offer extensions, because the likelihood is they're not a specialist. And when you are having a treatment like this on your eyes, you need to make sure that you're getting it done by somebody that knows what they're doing. So in conclusion to this, eyelash extensions are perfectly safe to wear, and they are fantastic, and the glues are safe. You know, a lot of these glues are EU approved, the products are safe. Within the UK we have to patch test our clients to conform with insurance. Other countries such as the US and Australia, they don't actually have strict regulations like that. However, you know, you can always normally, depending on where you are, find a good therapist by her hygiene practices, or whether they choose to patch test. Like I said, if you're watching this and you're in the UK, if you find yourself a therapist that doesn't patch test, she isn't going to be very good, because anybody that has built their business and has put a lot of time, a lot of money into it like I have, you're not going to come through my door without a patch test, because I do not want to treat you if I'm not insured, and also I care about your health, so I want to patch test you and make sure that you're not going to react to this glue, because people can react to anything at any time of their life, so we have to make sure that you're going to be fine with this. So yeah, going back to conclusion, they are safe to wear. You can wear them for the rest of your life without breaks if you have a good therapist and she assesses your natural lashes for the suitability of the waist of extension she puts on you. If they are hurting or they feel heavy or you're noticing your lashes thinning out, that is not a good set of lash extensions, and that shouldn't happen. Sometimes your lashes will appear shorter if you have extensions on. What extensions actually do is they trick the natural lashes into thinking that they are growing longer than they actually are. So you'll find that if you take your extensions off, your lashes will appear shorter, and they are. It's not damage, it's just your natural lashes not growing as long as they have to because they've got an extension on them. And the actual length of the extension equals a certain weight, which causes your lashes to shed. If you were to take your extensions off within 2 weeks, your natural lashes will grow back to what they were before. If you're finding that your natural lashes don't, then it was probably likely that your extensions were too heavy for you. So don't be frightened to go into any salon and ask questions and ask to see the lashes that they're using on you. Some of them might even let you touch them. They might keep lashes aside that they let people touch. Most people can safely wear lash extensions of thickness of 0.12, 0.15. The odd few people can wear 0.2 thickness. 0.25 is actually quite heavy for most people. So if you find that you go into a salon and somebody says they're going to use 0.25 thickness on you, it might make alarm bells ringing. Because on most people these days, they're not safe for you to wear week after week. Thank you for persevering with me on this. I know this has been quite a long tutorial, stroke video. And if you've got to the end, good on you, because a lot of people might have switched this off because it becomes boring for them if they don't have this passion. But if you want to invest your money into a beauty treatment, it's important that you actually do know what it is that you're going for, what to expect from your therapist, and what you need to be looking out for before you actually go and get the treatment done. So go and enjoy this amazing treatment, because it really is. And if you look on my Facebook pages, I've got eyelash extensions in Kent. Also, Frankie Widows is another one of my Facebook pages. You'll actually see some of the beautiful sets that we are able to produce on people. And like I said, if I was causing damage to my clients, then I wouldn't have any, and I wouldn't be able to pay my bills, and I wouldn't be able to live. And as such, I have such a huge client base of happy clients that come week after week, and people that are waiting to get in with me for months on end, so I must be doing something right. So if you do want to go and get eyelash extensions, make sure you do your research, and if you do, and don't be frightened to ask questions, then you will get yourself a lovely set of safe eyelash extensions.